Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Dan Lozon to defeat Spencer Fisher. And I'm here to talk about Chris Gutierrez versus Heili Alateng. Alateng is 31 years old, 16-8-2 as a pro, and he's given up 4 inches of height to 32-year-old Gutierrez, who is 19-5-2. Heili Alateng, he's a guy that can mix shit up, definitely hits hard, and can rip you to the mat as well. He's got 8 finishes and 8 decisions in his 16 wins, 5 via TKO, 3 via submission. In the UFC, we've only seen him put away Kevin Kroom, I believe. But his losses, he's got 8 of those. Only 2 of them are somewhat relevant, really. He's only lost a few times in the last almost 10 years. Casey Kenny beat him in the UFC. And although he got his ass kicked in that fight, he did survive, to his credit. And Kai Asakura, Rising champ, TKO'd him pretty early, a few years back. I don't think that was in Rising. But that's it as far as relevance goes. He has been TKO'd 3 times, submitted once, and lost by decision 4 times. But those are the only 2 losses that are really relevant, in my opinion. He does also have a draw in the UFC against Gustavo Lopez. I thought that was a fight where he got the better of Gustavo pretty clearly, but he grabbed the fence, had a point deduction. The scorecards didn't break in his favor, and he ended up getting a draw. Probably a majority draw. But still, he got the better of him. I thought the shittiest part of that, aside from the lack of discipline, was the fact that he was falling off a little bit in round 3. We've seen him in the UFC have success, though. He beat Chad and Helger somewhat recently. That was a 3-round decision. And that's also how he beat Ryan Benoit and Dana Bakiri. Both those guys took the 2nd round from him. But he showed, composure and as well as cardio, taking back round 3. And he TKO'd Kevin Kroom, who I think tried to fuck his wife. I don't know. Don't hold me to that. I'm joking. But yeah, Heili Alateng, he's a guy that I think is a good fighter, well-rounded, has dangerous power in his hands, but he's not reliable to bring the pressure. And I think he's going to have to up his pressure and get in the face of Chris Gutierrez, because Chris Gutierrez is a guy that you do not want to let dictate the range with his leg kicks. Those things are some of the best leg kicks in the sport, maybe. He's got killer leg kicks, and if you allow him to bring that into the game, bring that into the fight, that's going to be the story of the fight. Most often is. Chris Gutierrez, 19-5-2. One of his draws was against Cody Durden. We saw that in the UFC. Backpacked him in round 1. Gutierrez has 19 wins, 9 via TKO, 9 via decision, and just 1 submission over a former UFC fighter, ironically, Ray Rodriguez. His 5 losses come 1 via submission and 4 via decision. Raoni Barcelos is the guy to submit him. That was maybe his UFC debut, the rear naked choke in round 2. And then he lost a few decisions. Gerard Sanders, Timur Valiev, and Pedro Munoz in his last fight, which was, Pedro Munoz, he can go on a 4-fight winning streak. He's still going to be underrated, that guy. Very, very good fighter. And that loss halted a lot of serious momentum that Chris Gutierrez had. He had a lot of momentum. I don't know the winning streak or whatever, but it was something. And I know he knocked out Frankie Edgar brutally, knocked him out with a knee, and knocked out Dana Bakiri, that's right, with the spinning back fist in round 2. He had a lot of momentum, and that's on top of some decision victories, which Chris Gutierrez is quite comfortable with. And that's the thing. This is a guy that doesn't need to run through you. Power doesn't need to be his game. He wants to fight on the outside and use his leg kicks, which often are the best weapon in any matchup of his. And here, I think that's going to be the case, to be honest. Heili Alateng, he's shown he can crack, definitely. And Gutierrez has never been knocked out, of course, for what that's worth. And Gutierrez can be taken down, and Heili Alateng can probably do that, but I don't think he can do it consistently with enough success, I think, maybe if he puts together the right game plan, he can get that going for round one. But overall, 15-minute fight here. I'm taking Chris Gutierrez. I think he's going to win pretty comfortably, too. Might take a round to tame Heili Alateng and, take away his game plan. But I think Chris Gutierrez will make this fight standing and will keep this fight standing and will make it about his leg kicks. That's the pick. I don't know if he can get a TKO, Heili Alateng, despite being finished 3 times. Again, it's only happened once in recent memory. And Chris Gutierrez, despite having some nice finishes in recent memory, he's quite comfortable fighting for the long haul, which can produce a TKO with leg kicks down the stretch. He's no stranger to that either. But I'm taking Chris Gutierrez. Gun to my head, I'd go with him winning a decision. And I'd look for the props or whatever, but in general, I'm staying away from this. Gutierrez via leg kick decision. Like, share, subscribe, all that horseshit. Check out my other videos.